Morning, everybody. How's everybody doing? 2026 doing okay for you so far? I know it's early in the game, but doesn't hurt to, embrace the boring or I don't know. I don't even know how to frame that question, actually, now that I think about it. Appreciate it, Joe. Thanks. Everybody hear me all right? Ryan, thanks for letting everybody in. Much appreciated. See, whoa. Let's see. Jake, morning. Good to see everybody. Doing some roll call and greetings, if you will. Whoops. Bopping around as my chat doesn't stay in place. Runeslinger, good to see you, Anthony. Good morning. Or evening, I guess. Gabe, morning. Mike, morning. Orcus, morning. Things dried up out there yet? Shambot, morning. Shambot and I are getting snow right now, by the way. It was spring here in Wisconsin, probably the Midwest in a general overall fashion. Hit like 55, 60 degrees in January. That's crazy. Michael, good to see you. Thanks, Ryan. Appreciate it. Keith, morning. South Carolina. Living my best life and doing a little editing this morning. Well, if you can listen to this and edit at the same time, you, my friend, have a talent. Thanks, Joe, again. Like the card catalog like piece on the shelf. Oh, this is I don't know if it's, I know what an apothecary is, but I think that's what it's referred to. Like this card catalog thing. My wife got it. It's awesome. I had it on a different shelf over there, but little drawers. I've got like dice in here and some other stuff. Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it's fairly solid. Like I gotta say. Trumpet, good to see you. Thanks for the gifted membership. Congratulations, Farty. You are the recipient, whether you like it or not, of a gifted membership. Mktron, good to see you. Morning. Snow here tonight and strong wind. I'm always trying to think of the foreign lands, if you will, and trying to determine where they are in latitude. Longitude and latitude. To get an understanding of whether we fall in the same space around this marble. Morning. By a minute now for me. Yeah. Okay. Dorcas. Love the boldness that Sean doesn't care what anyone thinks. Grandma's lamp is going front and center. You don't like my grandma's lamp? Dude, that thing is awesome. Picked that at a resale shop, man. It's a theme. Jim, morning. Long attitude. Indeed. Nothing, no hubbub in the hobby that I can come across. I'm sure there is, but I didn't come across it. Orcus is usually in tune with some of that more than I am. Gray, good to see you. Cold but stagnant, yeah. Could talk about weather all day. Test trick, it was 113 here today from about 10 a.m., which was about the time a large tree branch fell onto our neighbor's power line and took out power and AC. Ouch. 113. Tuesday. Well, it's summer for you guys, right? It's dry, but it's cold now, almost down to 60. Look out. Look out, California. 60 degrees, cold spell. Victor, morning. Everybody kind of filing in. So going back to the RPG, getting to the RPG topic at hand, which I don't have, of course. I was thinking like If you wrote a RPG book, what chapters would be in it? Would it be focused? How would you approach it? Would you approach it from, if you were to write I'll start with that. If you were to write an RPG book, what would the title be? What would the title be? And what would it focus on? Like, what angle would you take if you were to write it? And it could be anything. It could be a guide to playing X title game better, run it better. I don't want to give too many ideas because then somebody's just going to go, oh, that's a good idea. That's what I would do. It could be about game mastering. It could be about playing. It could be just philosophical choices in the gaming space. It could be about the history. It could be anything. It's got to be RPG related. What, if you were to write the book, what would be the title? And then maybe like, what would it be about, or a couple of the chapter listings. Dren, good to see you. Morning. Trumpet, I think test tricky, isn't he? I think he's in Australia. So he'll probably answer before you'll actually hear me. Is that zombie Homer Simpson behind you? This one? Zombie Homer Simpson. Trying to figure out what you're looking at. Zombie Homer Simpson. Angle. This thing? No. You guys ever see this thing? So you guys are going through my shelf. You ever seen one of these? They used to have them. God, I cannot remember the store in the mall. But they had this, then they had like big dragons, and then they had big wizards. Since I've had this this is a Windstone Editions out of North Hollywood, California, that would make these. I can't remember the damn. It's like right next to Chess King and Spencer Gifts. I've had this forever, and I can't believe it's still in one piece. The crystal hasn't busted off or anything hasn't broken off. And I always wanted the big one, but I couldn't afford it. I mean, I got this when I was a kid, literally. Like, I don't know if I was even 15 when I got this thing. That's how old it is. So I don't know if that's the Homer Simpson zombie you looked at, but figured it's apropos for a RPG bookshelf. Top left of the image. Up here? I don't know what the hell. Trekky's just gonna have you running around. Here we go. First one. Gray says, Imperial History, a guide to the lore of Traveler. Whoa. The question I have for you, GP, is that book thicker than Traveler 5? I think it almost has to be, right? My gaming hubbub is BSRCon next weekend. Megatron says, indeed. Doing dishes here in North California. It's pretty early to do dishes, hey, Tad? Well, whatever, buddy. This feels like an easy question for you, Wayne. NSW. South of the border. Indeed. Dog puked. Yeah. When mine does it, if Shay does it, he does it right after he eats. And it's just massive. Like, wait a minute. I don't remember giving you that much food. Like, where is all that? Anyways, title from Matt says, everything is a story. TTRPG. System agnostic. Focus on how to craft a well-rounded campaign that tugs at all the heartstrings. Sold. Take my money. Wayne says, prepping for Dragonheart game this AM. Just popping on to say hello. Fair enough. Spencer Gifts wizard statue? No, it wasn't at Spencer Gifts. It was like, God, they sold lots of like weird trinkets, like a lot of candles and stuff. I cannot remember. Wicks and stuff? Was it Wicks and stuff? Wicks and sticks? Oh, I think I'm close. Mike says, I've written an RPG or two in my past. Currently waiting for drive-through to approve our current book coming out from Questing House Press. Go check it out, folks. It's a book about an approach to role-playing. Oh, I am intrigued. Mike, I don't know if you're part of our Discord. If you are, then I would suggest dropping a link when that's approved. We have a section for like non-member promotions and member promotions. If you're only going to post like once, post it in everybody, the non-member promotions. That's fine. Was it David's? No, it was not David's. Now I got everybody going crazy. Oh, Test Dragon, you're in Texas? Banana Bender by birth. Banana Bender? Title. Test Trekkie says. Yet another bearded middle-aged gamer's manifesto. Why system matters more than you think it does and why your game is bad, wrong, fun. I don't know what you look like, but could you put like a really old guy on the front of that with like a gray beard? Like says, other books I'd like to write is one about GM advice, maybe with a little high trust GMing. One chapter header would be trust your players. GP, no, I'm a lazy writer though. If I got the same team, Mark, I might beat them. Mark the Traveler. Far as being as thick as Traveler 5 is what he's referring to. Ryan, there was a store here in the mall 25 plus years ago called David's, I think, that I had a bunch of statues like you're describing. Sold tobacco too. It's not David's. Not in my neck of the woods. Mike says, another book I'd like to write is about being a better player and role player in RPGs. Short chapter. Short book. Brief read. Maybe not. Maybe not. Trumpet with another gifted membership. Congratulations, Willow. Harrigan, book. How to review games, lose friends, and annoy people. Oh. by a veteran, 25 years experience. Orcus Dorcas, golden age of RPGs is over and other BS. A look at inflated egos in the tabletop hobby. Oh, Orcus, sometimes I need more. I need more Orcus. I know that may be crazy, but okay, sounds good, Mike. Victor says, I think the Homer is above and to the left of Pendragon. Pendragon. Above and to the left. Oh, this one? This one. This thing? The plushie? Or the Beholder? Dude, I don't know what you guys are looking at. Pendragon. Up and to the left. Dudes, I don't know. This thing? A Beholder? No. They just start taking things off. You guys are just making me dance. That's what it is. Let's see what we can get Sean to do here. Keith, in the 90s, 80s, sorry, wrong decade. Wicks and Sticks, yeah, it was a prominent retailer in American malls that sold Windstone editions of statues, including the wizard figurines. Dude, I still got it. Wicks and Sticks, bruh. would go in there and look at those figures. That's the only thing I was interested in the entire store. It had one like glass kiosk with all these things on it. Wicks and Sticks. Is that Windstone Edition still around? I don't even know. I should look them up. Should we look them up? They're probably way long gone. Windstone Editions. Oh, they got an online store. Look out. They are alive and well. Check it. Thanks for doing the Google, Keith. Shop for Dragons. Oh, and they got cats and kittens. Pegasus. I don't see the wizards, though. Dude. That's crazy. I don't see any of the dragons that I actually like. Shop for Dragons. Maybe they got some, like the big ones. I was never like the small ones. They got like 18 pages of these things. $144 for the dragon. I could tell you back in the 80s, it was not that. Not a big fan of the babies. They had ones that like showed the dragon coming out of an egg. I like the big ones, the full-fledged ones. Can we get to the, there's the egg ones. Not even the ones I used to remember. Trying to find the vintage large dragons that I used to look at. That's not it either. They're the ones that stand up. Getting closer. It's not it yet. I'll put a link in the show. I'll put a link in there. You can look if you want. I'm not seeing any of the ones that I like. I'm surprised they don't have the wizards, though. They just to go to dragons. The wizards were the cool, too. They had different colored robes, too. I kind of probably got the black one because of Dragonlance, honestly. I don't know. Maybe. I'm not sure how they break these down, if I can skip to certain ones. So apparently they're still alive and well. Imagine how many times it's exchanged hands with owners. Who knows? Starting to get closer. I like the Old Warrior stone color. That's kind of cool. Still don't see the ones that I mean, once if I come across it, it's going to hit me like square in the face. I'll be like, oh, this is the one. This is exactly it. But I don't see it yet. There was like a brown and I think a silver or gray one. They were pretty big. Some of these are $200. Back in the day, they might have been 60, maybe. Still a lot in the 80s. That's it. They don't have it. Ah, boo. It was something. It was something like that, but not like the snout was longer. I don't know. Curl Dragon. I don't know. Doesn't look like what I'm looking for. They got dealers. Information for dealers. Wicks and Sticks. You can paint your own? Dude, I cannot. But they don't have any of the wizards. That sucks. They might have ditched them. Maybe they were too hard. Anyways, there you go. Back to you guys. Back to you. William, morning. Good to see ya. The red box. Victor is still bent on me. This one. This red box. Pendragon left red box. You can't even see that on the calendar or on the screen. What are you? Dude, you're killing me. You're killing you guys. Oh, it's a beholder. Is that it? This thing? Yeah. So so it is this thing in the little box. So it is not Homer Simpson, if that's what you're looking for. I haven't even taken it out of the box, because this will be like worth $1 million in like 5 years if I don't open the box, just so you know, as a collector. My wife found this in like a thrift store or something. Like, she's like, hey, I saw this and I thought you'd like it. It's D&D. It's a bubbler. She calls it the bubbler. I mean, like the beholder. Oh, though, you got the bubbler on the shelf. That's cool. The bubbler. So whenever you want to throw that down on a table, you tell them it's not a beholder, because that's copyright. And, frankly, to my wife, nice job. It's now the bubbler. Another book, GP says, A Guide to Building a Character's Background, Goals, and Motives. Woof. I know one audience that won't buy that, and that's the ones that say, hey, no. You don't start with a background. You get that as you play. Ryan West, Gamma Ultra, Superheroes in the Apocalyptic Wastes. Are you a warlord or a defender of those struggling to survive? We have not. Is there a how to survive the world by playing D&D, or the survival guide to life? Everything I learned from playing RPGs. I think that would be something I would come up with. Shabbat says, title Bridges. How to be a good ambassador to the TTRPG hobby. Yeah. Victor says, okay, that was the thing. Thank you for confirming. Like, Victor could have had me dancing around for another hour. No, not that one, Sean. Little down, further down. I remember Wicks and Sticks. They had a big island store in the mall. There you go. Kerrigan says, nice one, Shan. Also, good luck. You might have heard my book that I wrote. No. That wizard statue is a collector's item now, I bet. Maybe. Probably. I'd have to go on eBay and find out. Like, I'd just do a one Windstone Editions. They've got to have them on there. They used to sell them like all the time. They were always in there. So it wasn't like I don't know, Hummel's still a thing? Shambat says, maybe I should call it Open Table. There you go. Go to Dragons and Types of Dragons. Well, I went through the entire page, all the pages. They also had miniature pewter swords and cut geodes. They did. You're right. Now that you mentioned that, they did. They had the bigger ones. That's right. And then they would have like one. They'd be like made out of lead or pewter, weigh like 3 pounds, and then they would have like one shiny crystal on it or one shiny piece of plastic. So it would be like a person with a sword, and then in the hilt would be like one little red bead of something, right? I remember those. Says Trekkie says, title Malkavians, Fist Fights and Rock Spiders. Subject, 20 years of conventions, LARP horror stories. Got it. He resembled Homer from a distance. Fair enough. If you like shopping for dragons and talking about shelves and games, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thanks, Ryan West. I'm going to totally use Bubbler at my table. For sure. Dun, dun, dun. It's the Bubbler. The Bubbler. She's got a little bit of her dad in her because he would. So my father-in-law, I didn't know for very long before he passed away, but my understanding is he would never call anybody by their name. It's like, he called him boy, called him, Alan. His name's Tad, Dad. And he would just refuse to learn it and would just, Alan, how's it going? So she's kind of similar. So it's like, no, it's a beholder, honey. Oh, it's Bubbler. Okay, it's Bubbler. Tad says, everything I need to know I learned from D&D. One woman's quest to trade self-help for elf help is already a book. Aha! There you go. That's hilarious. That is hilarious. Orcus Dorcas. So you hate people but like RPGs? History of Play by Post in the Hobby. Oh, snap. Who wrote that? Is that Harrigan? Did Harrigan write that? Harrigan, no elves at this table, Tad. Human centric. Jim, it's a beholder that talks like Bubbles from TPB. Need to move the quotes into the view screen. Oh, what happened? I must have hit the button. I don't have that locked. Let me lock that there. Sorry, guys. I'm here like clicking on everything, and I must have. How did I move that overlay? I have no idea. Sorry, guys. Thanks for the heads up. Thanks, Mike. Sorry, I got it fixed. Yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I get my mouse too close to my keyboard and I slide my mouse and it hits the button at the same time I slide it. It's awesome when you're editing audio when you do that. Like, what else has got you guys going on in the RPG hobby? None of the consequences. It's a great reason why I use Roll20. I can run D&D games without having to deal with people in person. That's why AI is so great. You can play RPGs with like 4 other players that don't actually exist. Just right click, Sean. Yeah, something like that. Thanks, Orcus. Little close to home there, buddy. Little close to home. That's how you get an echo effect on Harrigan. That's right. Remember your gadget. Remember your gadget. Glass Cannon AP of Shadowdark, getting me psyched to play Shadowdark after we wrap our mothership game. VTTs will make a resurgence with AI. VTTs, will they make a resurgence with AI? Is a VTT with AI a video game? I would argue it is. What is a video game? It's a VTT with AI. The importance or not of language in games. Interesting one. Consequence. I could never play D&D with AI because I know it's not real. I would need Star Wars droid level sentience before it would work for me. Do I dare talk about AI on this channel? Do I? Do I? Do you dare me to? Man, I currently run Deadlands online for 2 legally blind friends. Wow. So far, dropped the VTT for just Discord, and it works great. Yeah, I can imagine. Test tricky. Title. Bunyips, Yowies, Space Habitats, and the Dingoes Ate My Baby. Subject, a history of Australian written published RPGs a la monsters, aliens, and holes in the ground. Oh, that's pretty good. VTT with bot players or GM is 100% a video game. I don't know what else to talk about today. Honestly, I really don't. Kind of want to see AI play D&D with itself. AI. Games are you looking forward to this year, Sean? None. Well, if you're asking 2T, like new games, nothing. Nothing that's on the docket. Like the most anticipated list that EN World put out, I don't think there's any on there that like I'm like wondering. I'm waiting for Shadowdark's campaign, but even that is like still a campaign. I could still play Shadowdark without it. And it's not a game, it's a supplement, right? I don't know. I'd like to play Pendragon. It's, kind of at the back of my mind. I'd like to get that I would say Pendragon is one of the ones that I would like to play. Fantasy is still in a weird space for me. It's not what it was like a year ago or 2 years ago where it was like, I have no desire to play any fantasy. And if it's fantasy, I mean, even then I was like, I'd be running Shadowdark for West Marches, but it wasn't anything that was just itching because I still feel that there's just so much fantasy. So, I mean, I would pick a fantasy game and then probably just, okay, this is my fantasy game, whatever that is. I do think Pendragon's completely different from some of the other fantasy that's out there. One of the other things, kind of going on a tangent here and like squirrel, I thought of today was growing up and playing fantasy D&D, and now I'm trying to put my finger on where it is pivoted or how, because there are things I can see, like there is to me, the look and feel of 5th edition or even 2024 D&D is just, it's like, what do current players that got into the hobby a little bit later in life, excuse me, how they view fantasy and D&D versus how some of us might have viewed AD&D or basic back in the day. So case in point, we had a lot of titles in AD&D. Some of you would be like, I hated that. Burglar. For thief, it would be burglar. What was it? Shoot. All the things related to thief. I can't remember all the titles. But even fighter was like champion, gladiator. I don't know if gladiator was. Champion, I think, was one. Some of those. And I always felt that there was heraldry, there was more chivalry in the old AD&D times, just me growing up. I mean, it might have even been before I even read Lord of the Rings and any Tolkien. And so I think, when I thought of fantasy back then, it was knights in shining armor, sorcerers, not magicians, right? Wizards, for sure. Even though, and I could never understand magic user. Like it was just, when I first played AD&D and the caster's class was magic user, I was like, it seemed so unoriginal. What's this one? Magic user. Oh, not wizard, not sorcerer, not conjurer, magic user. But I was thinking of just briefly before hitting stream today, like when we went to Castle Ravenloft in I6 and we got rid of Strahd, I was looking at some of my characters. There's themes across some of my old characters, and I have them from 1984, 1984, I think was the earliest one I could come across that I actually still have. And there was a theme of we got into our Musketeers theme or era where the four or three of us would be playing quote unquote Musketeers, and we each actually took the names. So we weren't even like our own Musketeer. One person would be playing Porthos, one would be Athos. Not wholly original by any means, but once we got rid of Strahd, the DM would look at it and say, all right, somebody's got to take over the castle. I think at that time we were a typical party, and I was the paladin of the party. Jeff might have been playing his typical fighter, magic user, thief. And so since I was the paladin, I was the holy guy, and I had charisma because you had to have a 17 as a prereq to even be a paladin in AD&D. So he rolled, made some modifiers because of the charismatic element of it. Like, okay, Sean, you and your character, God, was it Sir Paul was his name, inherits the castle. And now you get to rule the lands of Barovia. Like, woo, epic, right? Took and photocopied all of Ravenloft, all the maps, and said, here, this is your castle moving forward. I still have that. So some of the things that some of the elements and components, and some people still play that and it's still the thing. I mean, and I think it was also Greyhawk had all of the heraldry on the box that probably didn't, that probably helped, and had the armored horse with the knight on top of it with the banner streaming. Oh my God, Rudy. I don't know. It was just kind of dawning on me about some of that got lost. And I don't know if it was, I don't know if it got lost necessarily, but it's changed over time and it's morphed, even through Dragonlance. And some people, well, that's because of the Hickman effect. Oh, no, that was the whole thing with Hickman and the campaign. He ruined it all, right? Well, I don't know about that, because we love Dragonlance too. And Dragonlance had knights, the Knights of Solamnia, right? And it had the Knight of the Rose and the Knight of the Crown, right? Like stern, bright blade. There was an element of still at that point in time. Dude, seriously, rude. Give it a rest. I better give this guy some food. What is going on? Come here. Come here. Our food, bud? Here. And nobody wants to hear you yelling. I don't know. Tales from the Basement, House Rules Stories for RPGs. Roxville Hall. Good to see you. I just enable an AI agent to take over my PC in a place filler tactical combat and notify me when the combat wraps. That's true. Like, what is the fun in that? AI currently has ads running for countless numbers of solo TTRPGs, which I feel is just choose your own adventures in a different color. Yeah. Pendragon feels more historic, mythical than fantasy. I agree. And that's where I think, like, I never played Pendragon. Like, Call of Cthulhu and Pendragon were off the list. That wasn't D&D, so, like, I don't know about this. I just use D&D to play the King Arthur myth. It's a Megatron. That's a good analogy. It's just a modern take on the old choose your own adventure books regarding footpad. Thank you. Cut purse. Jeez. Footpad. Shambot. Yeah, footpad. Fighter can become a superhero. Yeah, they could really bash. But even then, Gabe, I think, like, I don't know. Nowadays, when you're rolling like Pathfinder or 5th edition and you have a build and you've got like somebody that could do X amount of damage, even in AD&D, the only thing that changed in damage, I think, over time was your strength modifier, if you could increase it. Oh, let me take that back. The biggest thing that would increase damage was the magical properties of the weapon you would wield. Because you couldn't increase your abilities unless you got like a magic item. Dude, you needed the gauntlets of ogre strength. That was a no-brainer. And then you needed like a +5 Holy Avenger. Boom. You're at plus what? +9? Just from those two items. And then if you had a ring, that would stack, right? And then you'd own a greatsword, which would be like 3d18, right? Kablamo! Morning, Flint. Good to see you. Been a while. Hope everything's treating you well. Titles: Hero, Swashbuckler, Mimidon, Champion, Superhero, Lord. Ah, there you go. Coming to the end of the Grey Knight scenario, started at WFRP again. Keith and I interviewed Paul Mitchner from Liminal, joined a recording of Deliver Us from Evil, not Delver from Us, Deliver Us from Evil for Ain't Slayed Nobody. And believe Sean and I doing something with Runeslinger next week. So a fun start so far. Yeah, indeed. Magic User and Fighting Man. Well, yeah, I didn't go back as far as Fighting Man. I mean, I'm AD&D guy. That's where, I mean, I had basic and expert, but AD&D is really was my jam because it's advanced. The marketing worked on a 13-year-old. Jim says medium, seer, conjurer, thaumaturgist, magician, enchanter, warlock, sorcerer, necromancer, wizard. Yeah. Magic User's got the best level titles. I'd agree. Was the cleric? Cleric had some pretty decent one too, I think. Magic User is like the sword user or the idol user, right? Something like that. Magic User is just a generic name for the profession. All those other descriptive titles are used for specific levels of magic users. They are indeed. Clerics get to work their way to village priest. Yeah. Pope. Can I have the title Pope? Hell yeah, you can. Weapon wielder for fighter. Anyways, what does all this say about how a complete newbie is welcome to the hobby via the book's language and how that book assumes a certain level of familiarity with the hobby? Going back to the book. This is something I've been thinking about a lot lately. Domain play, even as first level or beginning characters like Birthright. Yeah, Birthright's... I never played Birthright. Birthright, I don't even know if it existed until like... For me, I don't know, 10 years ago, I think I came across it. I didn't even know anything about it. It probably came out when Sean was out of the hobby. Doing other nefarious things. Tad says, I'm using Shadowdark for my adventure design class this term, and an important part of the class is helping students understand the sword and sorcery genre as opposed to high fantasy or heroic fantasy. That's a whole nother topic. Test Trekkie Dragonlance had Kenders, the most cursed PCs ever because of the Kender pocket tables having the possibility of, oh, I have a ring of wish with a 1d3 wishes left. Kender's a bed of discussion for sure. Sean, did you complete your thought? Why does your modern D&D fundamentally feel different from the D&D of your youth? I guess I didn't. Shocker, I didn't complete my thought, really. I don't know if I completed it. It was just it was very fleeting, but it was, and I think it was probably, I don't know if it was the nature of the adventures that we went on, because they were all modules and they were all episodic. They were never, I don't equate how we played in AD&D days as a campaign. But if you looked at them and used the same character throughout all those scenarios and adventures, then it would be. Like, we never were concerned with where we were in Greyhawk and how we got anywhere. And that might have just been the way we played and style we played. Like, it was, I had the Greyhawk map. I wanted to, like, I'd go through the book. I think I might have, did I give that to Brett? I think I did. I don't think I have it anymore. And I would go through and I'd go, oh, the Duchy of Jof. Jof. I would like, oh, that looks like a cool place. Like, who are the people there? And all this. And, well, it's not the Orc lands or the Badlands, so I must be from there, and plop it down in a town. But it never was relevant to anything we would play. We would just, if you met a new character in the group, you would just say, I'm from here, and have no real bearing of anything other than the entry in the Greyhawk campaign setting, which was probably like a paragraph long. And I think I just felt like it was in my brain, I don't want to say swords and chivalry, but it was more chivalry than anything. Knights, maidens, crash test dummies. And the gauntlets and girdles. Yeah, right, for sure. Gauntlets and girdles. Hilarious. Wishes for stat boosts. You need a lot of them. I see how I should have said a fighter can become titled a superhero. Ah, there you go. Yeah. Add Weepo. Eventually, fighters got to make 3 attacks. That's right. 3 attacks every 2 rounds. Then later they got to make 2 attacks every round. That's right. So it was much more like, I do 54 points of damage because you were like hitting, 3 times in a row. Don't forget weapon specialization. Did that come in 2nd edition? Or am I wrong? It's been so long since I played AD&D. Mike says, adventures back in the day wore more money in equipment, armor, and weapons on them than most people make all their lives. At higher levels, you'd have more in money on you than some small towns make. I remember those days. Yeah, and the Monty Hall. I don't want to play a Monty Hall campaign. Okay, I just have 10,000 gold. You can only have, then you had to make up rules. Like you can only have 2 magic items. You can have 1 weapon and 2 magic items, or 1 magical weapon, and 2 other magic items. No more. Ryan West, there's an adventure idea. You roll into town and a previous group of adventurers just cleared a dungeon and crashed their economy. The only seemingly out-of-place cleric title I remember is Llama. Flint, did anyone even introduce their character by their title? No, I didn't. Arrogance says, I always hated the titles, at least in terms of the generally nonsensical hierarchy Gary put them in. Mainly because Sean is no longer a youth. I am not. That's true. Birthright came out in 95. Yeah, I was out of it. I had moved on. I was officially out of the hobby by at least 89. I was gone. Done. How do you feel about polearms, Harrigan? I love polearms, and the game needs about 3 different polearms. I love me some weapons, though. That was not on the list. Sean, do you want to play now the way you did in your youth? Um, I don't know. I can't say, like, nostalgia is an interesting beast because I don't necessarily want to subscribe to that, but I think it's different. I think Pendragon is kind of the Great Campaign. I don't think it'll capture it for me because it's not the same type of game, but there are elements to it that are of interest to me. Black Company, like some of the influences back then. I mean, I didn't read Black Company, but I knew about it. Lord of the Rings came around, and I don't know if that changed anything. There's Dragonlance, of course. Thomas Bane series, Lord Fowl's Bane. Lord Fowl's Bane. I read just a little bit. I think maybe the first book, Swords of Shannara, a little bit. And some of those don't align with kind of what I'm talking about and what I'm conveying and how we played the AD&D game. But we played, I'm sure we went through tons of modules. Half of them I couldn't even tell you. Like if somebody said, "Hey, Sean, I'm going to run this, Cult of the Reptile God," I go, "Okay," and we'd play it. I probably in 8 hours, there might be one thing that I'd be like, "Wait a minute, that sounds familiar." The rest, it's like so ancient history. Went through them a lot. Like Pharaoh, Bloodstone Pass, some of the classics, but Tomb of the Lizard King. And it's not, you could still run those like in 5th edition. Some of them have probably been ported over on drive-through, whatever the D&D version is, DM's Guild. I don't know. Not sure what I can't put my finger on it. I don't know if it's the patron part of it. Like everything's driven by a patron, or, like something's going on bigger at a bigger level. Like, hey, Tomb of Annihilation is, hey, you got to go and save the world from this death plague. Where when we went into the Tomb of Horrors, it was like, all right, you guys are going to go through the Tomb of Horrors. You're standing outside and there's 3 entrances. Go. So it's like boiled down. I don't know if it was as grandiose. Even Dragonlance, to some degree, didn't start out that way. I'm not sure. I cannot articulate this very well. I'm getting that Sean's ideal D&D is episodic and chivalric. Maybe? I think it is a thing. Ryan, I did expect Sean to sing this morning. I did not have Crash Test Dummies on the checklist. Well, there you go. We met the singer, Brad. Dude, some of those CDs are awesome. Here, Sean. He's going to help me out. Maybe. Brushed right past Tolkien. Tolkien came late, I think, in my youth. I read Dragonlance. Like, I must have read more than 12 Dragonlance books. I did the core first trilogy, the twins trilogy. Then I started to get into the books, like individuals, like Huma and some of those. And then eventually Tolkien. Tolkien was too dense for me. I don't know. I was just like, it's a different read. A lot different read. For sure. I just started playing in a Hyperborea campaign. I'm really looking forward to leveling up my character. I did read Tolkien, but it wasn't till like senior year, maybe. It was late. And I might have picked it up and put it down. Even The Hobbit. I carried The Hobbit around with me for a while. And it was just, I don't know. Did movies and TV influence your gaming more as a kid, Sean, than books? Beastmaster, Conan? For sure, but I was never a big Conan fan. I wasn't a big sword and sandals guy. Crawl was in there. I think I even maybe had a character that had the Krull star thing with the blades, right? Sean has layers of interiority. Dude, don't you use your big words here. I was listening to Crash Test Dummies Discovery 2 days ago. Dude, such a good group. I like them. And they're Canadian, and so they're nice. Interesting. I eventually dispensed with modules and went straight for a homebrew Lord of the Rings, Take Down the Dark Lord campaign. I need to dust off Drodor. Not Drodor. Oh, man. Open door, closed door, Drodor. I think you are bumping up against how adventures back then were isolated, and adventures now must have some level of an in-world verisimilitude. I don't think that is not a consideration, for sure. Agreed. But did you read Flint the King? I did not. Oh, or did I? I might have. Was that the tale where he got, like, the Gullah Dwarves took him in for prison? I don't remember if I read that or not. I know the tale, but I don't remember if I read the book. I was reading Myth Adventures instead of Dragonlance. I had Thieves World. But see, some of these, when I talk about like Thieves World, you could just like that's plop. It's any major town or major city in any D&D campaign. So it's like this weird. I don't know what it is, man. It's a different feel. And Harrigan has mentioned this on I think even Go Bag, where it's like when we talk about OSR, there are people that are in love with the thought of playing how they did, but I don't know how you framed it, dude. Something to the effect of, I don't think we actually play old school games, the OSR games today, like we did when we were growing up. But people like to think that we do. Because we played messed up. I don't even think Stranger Things captured that correctly, like in the 80s. Like, come on. Maybe they did. I don't know. It was just a brief in season 1 anyway. I like the themes of what I played in my youth and how I imagined them to be while playing, but I absolutely do not want to play how I did in my youth. In hindsight, it was a glorious train wreck. I agree. Like there's a tone and a feel that I had when I was younger that we could appreciate, that I would also look back upon and say, well, that's like if I watched a video series, an actual play series of Sean, 13, 14-year-old Sean with his buddies playing AD&D back in the day, it would be terrible. It'd be hilarious, but it'd be terrible. Like, what? Oh, my God. But at the same time, shut up, Siri. But it would be, I think while I was 14 and I was thinking how AD&D was super, super, super cool and what it entailed and what we would do and how we would play, the things that I think are probably pretty silly now, I could rip and remove, but to sit at the table and go, okay, we're going on this adventure and we're going to go into this, if we're going into, say, Pharaoh, and it's a big tomb, pyramid, Egyptian themed style, Amun-Re, going through the sands and having this silhouette tell us, hey, blah, 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 Amun-Re, move forward, and then basically do tomb raiding. This is essentially what we were doing. And then the DM like, so you're running, are you wearing plate mail? Because you're a paladin, right? You're wearing plate mail in the middle of a desert? Yeah. Like, I got to go back to some movies and maybe some books or something that kind of grasp some of that. So I think it's like, how do I put this? Man, I am not doing well with this. It's a mystery of adventure and the excitement of adventure, but not being overly wondrous. Does that make sense? And it's not in the ditch, right? It's not Merc Borg. It's not dirty, filthy RPG. The Glaive, I think that's what it was called in Krull. It might have been. You are correct. Always, Jim. Yeah. Myth Adventures. I forgot about Myth Adventures. I read a lot of Piers Anthony too. Piers Anthony, yeah. There was so many back then. I had so many books. I don't know how I acquired them. I would buy them from Walden Books and never read them. Saberhagen had the Swords trilogy. I remember like these always, every time I would move my room around or move a bookshelf, I'd take them all off, move the bookshelf, put them all back on. They had to be in a particular order. Yeah, it's kind of what I equate to. It's a weird, this is a weird analogy, but some of you might be like, dude, you're onto something here. It is even before kind of Elmore, the four, right? Elmore, Easley, Parkinson, and Caldwell. Those artists had a tone and feel. And I was like more of a Larry Elmore fan when I was coming up with Dragonlance because he had a pretty prominent presence. He did all the covers. Like I wanted to get all three of those prints and put them right next to on my wall and one next to the other. But as I grew older, I found Keith Parkinson to be much more appealing to me. And I think it was because of the kind of more realistic approach that he had, the realism that it conveyed in his style. Where am I going with this? And you fast forward to 2024 D&D specifically, and even in 5, and even Pathfinder to some degree with Reynolds. Reynolds I find more anime in his style, which I can, but not true, big eyes, small mouth. But at the same time, with 2024, watercolor, like bright, vibrant watercolor is not, like I don't want a Merc Borg, but I'm not looking for watercolor, bright watercolor. Like just, I don't know what it is, man. Strange. It's in my brain. I just cannot. It's like describing art. I remember adventures back then just being what the DM was interested in that week. There was no consistency from week to week. Exactly. For sure. Like run a module, whatever. We're 4th level. Do you have a 4th level scenario? We did when we were really, really bored and we didn't have a DM. We would do gladiator fights. Like, here's the arena. Let's go. We'd put maybe a monster in there too, and then maybe we use the XP to level up our guys. We could do gladiator fights. Yeah, we could do that, I guess. I don't know. What's in your, like, how many, what characters do you have? Well, there's this one. And there's this one. He's 4th level. He's 2/2/2. Okay. Which one's he going to play? We should probably play this one. Okay, cool. You should bring him back. That'd be awesome. Okay, I'll play him. Like these discussions. And then we go on an adventure. No. We didn't play right. No, I don't doubt that in the least. These days, OSR is an idealized version of the old style of play, not really a facsimile. Thank you. They played D&D and ET. They did indeed. We want the vibe and aura to match our nostalgia, not the actual gameplay. Right. Yes. Tone. I would say the tone to match the nostalgia piece, not the actual gameplay. Because that gameplay, like if you remove the gameplay, like, okay, how much gold did we get? Awesome. I'm going to go shopping. Woo. And then go through like pages and pages of gear and like, oh, I want to buy this. Can I buy that? Sure. Okay, cool. The power of playing D&D as a kid. Total reckless abandon. Rules were really just a guideline. Indeed, for sure. Hey, Jake, good to see you. Yeah, I agree. Jim says, I play with sort of similar systems to the ones I played as a kid. Different editions, but similar. But I don't think I play the same way at all. I like to think I've learned things over the years. Ryan says, exactly, Jim. I would hope I'm not half as stupid as 12-year-old me. Amun Ra. Ra. Amun Ray. Amun Ray. That just depends on where you're from, Harrigan. Not in my D&D. Jim, I probably cared more about rules as a kid. I spent more time reading the books alone and trying to figure out how things worked. What is your personal appendix N? That's a tough one. I don't think my appendix N aligns with some of the play. I had a character, Tempest Thales. He's the main character in Thieves World. And I think I might have read one book of Thieves World. I think it was like my own take on what I thought was that book. I don't know. It's weird. Dude, this is like when I talk about GM therapy, like, dude, I need a couch and I need a therapist that has been a role-playing gamer for years. Just to like, tell me a little bit about your first character. How did that affect you? Let me tell you, Doc. And your first character death? Let's talk about that. Right. Does anybody else ever think about stuff like this? I don't know. Maybe it's just me. No? A big step, roll for it versus, yeah, you should be able to do that. No roll required. Does this success, failure matter to the story? Orcus and Jim have it. We don't need to return to that exact method of play, but there was the sense of wonder, of discovery, or just conjuring up stories that were so cool. I kickstarted Forbidden North. It's a trilogy, and it is going to be a beast. And I don't have the first two books that are out in print. I have ordered them through the Kickstarter. And, it's a big thing, mega dungeon, but, it's almost like 3D6 down the line when they went through Ardenville, right? Yeah, it's a mega dungeon, but it's not like, I didn't listen to the whole actual play, but I can't imagine it was like every door, there were things that were going on other than, all right, we go to the next door, kick it in. What do we see? Okay, great. Is there a treasure in here? No? I search it. I toss it. What do we find? Nothing? Okay, on to the next door. Like, I remember that as a kid. That was not fun times, but it was like a way to get through things. Like, there's got to be something going on in here if there's just doors everywhere. But I think it has to do with the going to Harrigan's thing here is like going somewhere that doesn't exist. And I find in some more modern versions of the D&D, it exists. Like, I'm a fan of Eberron. It's such a freaking sense of irony. I'm a fan of Eberron, and that is like baked. Like, 1,000 years of history or whatever. You know, these 500, 300, 100 years of war or whatever. Like everything, you know, here's this and where it's at. Even Greyhawk, to some degree, had the campaign setting where everything was kind of laid out and you could kind of pick where you were. But even as a kid, I could say, well, I'm from this town in this duchy, and that town was not on a map. And the GM was like fine with it. And I think the reason I did that is because I didn't want to be pigeonholed into a town that was already kind of like, I could imagine what it was based on my, like, where I think my character's from. I don't know what I'm talking about. Peers tried to appear in a couple years ago. It's so painful. I just do not connect with the writing. Yeah. No watercolor. Painterly. Watercolors are awesome. They may be awesome, but I don't have D&D 2024. Let me see. No. Now, I will say this. Some of the AD&D art back in the day, and I think this because when I went to Elmore and Parkinson and Caldwell, like, dude, Sutherland, yeah, the DM guide, great, but come on, let's face it, man. Some of those, the monster manual entries, pretty terrible. I'm literally working with watercolors as you are speaking, and I like what you're doing with them. I just don't want it as, I want it, if it is, like if Jim took, I've seen Jim's work because he's posted it on Discord, but if he's done the map and he took that map and put it on a cover of a book, I'd be like, okay, that's kind of cool. If you took watercolors and made a party of adventurers and made them like super vibrant, like the 2024 cover of D&D, like, dudes, not my style of preference or preference in style. It's just not. We did gladiator fights too. That's awesome. See? My table had fully consistency from week to week about 3 months after I started AD&D for the next 3 to 4 years. That's crazy. Still need to do the monster manuals with Julie. I await the torches regarding the 1E covers. I know she won't hold back. Ha 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 ha. Rah. No, Sean. No, Sean. It does not. It does. It's Amun Ray. Personal Appendix N would be a good thread for the Discord. Yeah. I wish I had just read more. 80s kids have their own Appendix N. They do, dude. For sure. The difference between my group as a teenager and my groups today is less rage quitting and more quiet quitting. The rage quitting was much more fun to watch. You ever have somebody throw their books out in the snow? Dude, that has scarred me for life. Like, Axon, one of Jeff's characters, even today, I'm like, oh, dude, this is going to be... Dude, 14-year-old Jeff's going to be just coming out any day now. Forbidden North, not just a mega dungeon, a whole campaign setting, villages and towns, adventure sites, dungeons, factions, etc. And part of me, I think, is like, dude, when I sat down at the D&D table, I didn't know where the hell we were. It didn't matter where we were. It didn't matter where we were from. Because it didn't have anything to do with going into a tomb of a lost pharaoh that we stumbled across in the desert. Like, why is my character even in the desert? Just go with it. It's what it is. Where we're opening it. You're going through a desert. Where is it located? Pull up Greyhawk. Boom. Here in this desert. You're wandering around. Cool. You see a figure materialize in the distance. All right, go and check it out. Read the box text. Cool, let's go. As a kid, we would invent stories that wouldn't make sense to an adult. We would overlook or give superficial treatment to things like economy, religion, and other real world things. It's hilarious, right? I think the feeling of being pigeonholed also resulted in so many characters being orphans. Copper. Damn, I missed 72 minutes this week. That's all right. It's not going anywhere. Running something like Forbidden North would require it to be my entire focus. I would essentially have to halt all games run, possibly play, knowing it would be all-encompassing for a year or more. I don't know. My buddy Joe's trying to run Tunnels and Trolls. To me, part of it is like, you know, as I have free time. I don't have free time. But if I was playing every week, you know, God, when I was at Coriolis? Yeah, I think it was Coriolis. Was the other opposite week. And since I have not played every other week. So I have kind of technically an open week. And I'm like, well, what should I play? Could I play? Should I fire up another game? I don't know. What should I do? And part of me, every once in a while, when time goes by long enough, I'm thinking, we should pull out the Epic campaign. There were forums when I would post these kind of like, okay, I'm going to get back. We're going to do this. And it's going to be great. And it's going to be awesome. Let's do this. I would call it the greatest campaign ever. That would be the title of the game. It would fizzle out in like 3 months. But I think to myself, what would that look like? And how would I not get burned out? And what elements would I like and appreciate about that game? And I think to me, it is, you know, there's a combination of system, there's a combination of tone, there's a combination of feel as a scenario, like what things you want to incorporate. And I think I have some of those elements in my brain that I want to do. I don't know if it's necessarily published adventure. And to even Orcus's point, Scott's point is like, dude, how much time do I want to trade off with like world building? Because I think I admit I would not say world building is my jam. Like there's some DMs that's like, dude, that's what I live for. This is what I do the hobby for. Is to build a world. And I've been building this world for like 30 years. It's the same campaign. But I also think it's like, I am not interested in, some would say like skill checks, especially funhouse dungeons. Like I'm not interested in putting a group in Castle Amber. I don't care how many people think that thing is cool as hell. It's just not what I want to do. I would much rather have somebody like literally speed run. That's probably a bad term, but like go through a dungeon without any gotcha moments to just say that they went through it and discovered whatever was there with maybe minimal danger. Like there's a sense of danger, but they don't know like, hey, the door, you're going to check, you know, there's a door. Well, I want to check the door for traps. And unless the door has a real reason to be trapped, it's not trapped. Like unless there's some weird wizard, some weird thief that has trapped the chest, sure. But the door, I don't know. Like just open the door. Open the door. I open the door. The door opens. Great. Fantastic. You're in a room. Okay. What's in the room? Because I think sometimes when I think about like, well, the players are just walking through this and they're just like cakewalking in and they're making all their rolls. Or you get into like, why is there a conflict between the players and the game master? Like, well, I didn't say I went in the room. Yes, you did. You said you went in the room. Well, why does that matter? Well, because there's fucking black pudding at the top and it's going to drop down. That's why. Well, I didn't say I went in the room. Well, you can't see what's in the room unless you walked under the threshold. Like, oh, I don't want those debates. I'm totally rambling. Totally weird. I'm in a weird mind frame of mind. I'm not that kind of commitment now. I'm a loner, doty, a rebel. Catching the end, I made it. Hey, Laramie, hope you have a great time in the Northwest. Yeah, it sounds like Laramie's having a good time out in Seattle. The word of the day is nostalgia. Yeah, it is. I don't know. Interesting. I set out game on Greyhawk almost immediately. Never did much of the teleporting from dungeon to dungeon. We didn't even teleport. We just showed up. Okay, now you guys are in the swamp. Like, we didn't even, like, how we got there? Not even a factor. No travel. Like, maybe if it was part of the scenario, like, well, you start in this hex and you have to travel 5 hexes. So, yeah, there's a little, there's an ambush that the lizard men have in this hex, and then the other one has got X or Y in there. But eventually you're going to get to this, and then I have to read Tomb of the Lizard King again. Runeslayer, all sorts of books and movies were mashed together in good and bad ways when we were kids that really evolved into different methods over time. For art then and now, the text was more important to me. Not us. Dude, my buddy Jeff will not play a game based on the art. But it's not the art. Like, what I think what we're interpreting now that we're adults is not the art, it's the tone and feel that art conveys to him. That's what it is. It's not and that art style plays into that. He lays out books to put in the art he likes. Like, dude, there is, let's peel back those layers a bit. What the hell are we talking about? That is the ultimate question, Laramie. Nostalgia gaming. Yeah, it is. I hate like nostalgia pieces, but I don't know. I think we moved into nostalgia and gaming. It's run the gamut the same. Yeah. Creator of Gods of the Forbidden North is converting the entire campaign for another rule set. Has he announced which one yet? I think he's pitching Shadowdark, right? I think he's got a poll. Shadowdark or 5e, maybe? We are working Sean through a midlife crisis of nostalgia and existentialism, I think. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe. I think we've all been there. Orcus, just about every week. Yeah. Wait, is Sean describing D&D or Top Secret? Oh, God. Dude, Top Secret is an interesting one because I don't have that problem. Top Secret, man. I freaking drew a van with a bubble on top with a machine gun that would come out of it. We were A-Team, Bond, Mission Impossible all rolled into one. There's always some weird wizard. They're eccentric, man. Can we just call them eccentric, please? Let's not put them in a box. Sean, if you're calling them eccentric, you're putting them in a box. Funhouse dungeons are definitely not for me. I find them frustrating. Hate Funhouse dungeons. You people hate fun. Funhouse dungeon equals Super Mario Brothers. Why would someone construct something like this? Indeed. Then you go see House on the Rock and you're even more confused. Having been there, I know. Right. Victor, you and I were in the same group. I firmly believe that. We never traveled either. We were just there. Yeah. Arrogant, so dumb. But to each their own, because a wizard did it. Wizard did it can work once. Because a wizard did it can work once. For sure, man. I think Victor and I are like probably exactly the same age. Probably got into it around the same time. Probably in the same type of environment. And yes, fun, hate it, always have, only suffering. It's not grimdark, only bad choices and suffering. Yeah. Yeah, man. By teleport, I just meant suddenly you're there. We never did that. Oh, yeah, we did. All the time. Roxville. Whoop. I have been playing and GMing Savage Worlds for 10 plus years, but I am now GMing Tales of Argosa. Pickpocket Press. The playstyle change is refreshing and is likely a bit nostalgic, but then again, it is not. It's funny how you just like pivot and it's like, whoa, this is different. You're in a swamp. Episodic sounds like a more fun version of West Marches. Kitchen Sink Fantasy. Ryan, brother. See ya, Jim. Laramie, nostalgia is fine long as you accept it's just nostalgia, not reality. Well, I don't think that's not. I'm not sure. Okay, so you guys help me out. Nostalgia is often like, I find online when people are talking nostalgic or nostalgia, it's almost got a, like even in a couple comments earlier, like it's taken as a negative thing, right? Should be? Is it a big deal? Is there a hang up that I'm not aware of? Like, oh, well, it's because you haven't moved on. Like you're holding on to something that's in the yesteryears, and the yesteryears were sucky, or they were filled with baggage. Move on, dude. Is that the deal? I don't understand why nostalgia has been sometimes looked upon as very negative, especially in our hobby. Like, is it because people go, that's the way we should play? Because I don't feel that way. This is just preferences or something I'm missing in like current times. Like I'm, dude, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think it's reality. I got my partner super pissed last summer when I told her this place she wanted us to go wasn't that good. Just her nostalgia. Oh, I see. Is it because we think it was really great when it really wasn't? And so it's that piece. Okay. No, nostalgia on its own is not bad. It's how you try to reclaim it that people have an issue with. That's fair. I get that. Runeslinger, lots of similarities. Start at the dungeon door until people read expert, hyper-focused on good and chivalry until people read Elric. Oh yeah, throw in Elric for sure. Constant repurposing of old maps like Ghost of Lion Castle. Yeah, Teagle Man. We never went through Teagle Manor. Like that thing was crazy. I don't know why. It's Judges Guild, probably why. Not D&D. Anyways, so it's Saturday. We'll see. I don't know what I'm going to do. It's just something that popped in my brain and thought, you know, it's also perception. Like some of the things like, you know, 2024, it's got watercolor art, Sean, but it's not like that. It doesn't have to be like that. Well, that's true, for sure. I don't know. I got nothing. Okay. Long story short, Sean, we'll see. We'll see. Anyways. Thanks for like listening to me. Just looking at my books. What would I run? The presentation definitely affects a person during preparation. Time for some Delta Green? Dude. Yeah. Gotta prep for my BSRCon game. Gotta go. Thanks for the trip down Nostalgia Lane, and thanks for the stream, Sean, and chat. Take care of each other. See you, Shambot. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up. It's time. Part of me is also with like the system too. Like to get out now, I'm going back, right? Will I run OSE? Will I run Shadowdark? Magic gotta be big. Will I play AD&D? What should I play? Should I use BX? What rules I play? Back me? No? Maybe this. Oh. Maybe I should play. Maybe I should run Pickpocket Presses stuff. Would that be good? I don't know. Maybe. What do you like about it? I'm not sure. Play Swords and Wizardry. Could do that. Oh, I don't know. I think the type of game that I would want to run if I ran a longer term fantasy would be very much trying to get back to there's a dynamic I'm trying to capture, which may be tough because there are the games that are very much give me a check. And then based on that result, this is what happens. And sometimes those checks, while the game will say you only make the check when it is urgent, imperative, dangerous, time sensitive, the consequences matter. How many fantasy role-playing games do we have people make checks contrary to all that? I don't know. Give me a check. I would much rather somebody just go into a room and I say, when you go into the room, what are you going to do? And they say, well, I don't know. I'm going to look for something. So there's like this assumption that the GM would just take into consideration. But where that assumption stops is when it gets disjointed. So it's like, well, they don't find the thing under the bed because they didn't say they tossed the bed. Well, I said I was looking, right? That's some of the weirdness. So I would say like, well, how long do you spend in this? Like, you're going to spend 30 seconds or are you going to spend like a good few minutes? Probably a good few minutes. I want to get to see what's going on in here. I want to find out. I'm like looking through shelves and some of that. Okay, great. There's something under the bed that you find. Great. Like, good job. Boom. No check. DC's, like all that bullshit, sometimes is like, what? Also saying, no, you can't do that. I don't know, man. It's just crazy. You might wake up tomorrow to be pumped to play and run Forbidden Lands or Twilight 2000. Only time will tell. I totally get it. Funny, useful stream as always. I don't know about that. Like Brett says, I Greyhawk it. Actually, Doc says that. And he doesn't even say it. He writes it on a big piece of paper and just holds it up. I don't do D&D anymore, but if I were to run some sessions for my friends who do so that they can all play together, I have decided to use Vagabonds of Deft, partly because the books are square. Oh, there you go. You're describing the OSR, Sean, and a GM with 2 red cents to rub together. Right. Zombie checks are not something I do anymore. Zombie checks. Is that what they're called? Dude, Star Wars Saga Edition square? Well, that's true. Right over there. Yeah. But I don't buy them because they're square. Or you're just asking if Vagabonds of the Deft are similar to Star Wars Edition squared. Vagabonds is a cool little system rune. I like Dutter's designs a lot. Dutter's cool. Actually, factually square. Nice. I don't know. But I also fail at OSR. Like we played Outcast Silver Raiders. You know, there's a lot of things we could have done that would say, oh, okay, Harrigan would, as the game master, you do that. But we would never get into the weeds of some of the things that we would say and do. Like, okay, this is what I'm going to do, and this is why. Like, I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to prevent it from happening by doing this. Like, Dyfed. Sorry, Dyfed. Thanks. I thought I had it right. I just Dyfed. Dift. Dyf Ed. Dyfed. Anyways, thanks for I don't know, placating me. We'll see. Oh, this will be a distant memory in 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to go. Thank you to all these fine individuals for supporting me over the months. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for being here. Hope 2026 treats you well. We're still early and I could still say that. So I'm not even halfway in to the month of January. So thanks for being here. It's good to see everybody. I hope your gaming is good. I think we need gaming more than I know we need gaming more than ever. Hopefully, despite not to get into this whole frickin' ball of wax, but hopefully gaming is what keeps us together. We can find common ground in gaming and we can put a lot of BS that we encounter day to day on the back burner for just a few hours as we go looking into a dungeon somewhere. So take now more than ever, unplug if you need to. Because you unplug doesn't mean you don't care. But for your own sake, I'm talking to myself, by the way, just so you know. It's not directed at you, but if you need some time to just be like, I just got to go to the mountains for like a week. And I don't want internet. I just want a campfire, like cans of soup and a few books to read. Totally would get it. So wish you all the best and see you next weekend where I stream Saturdays, 8 a.m. Central Time right here on this channel. And who knows what we'll talk about next week. We'll see you in the next one, though. I really appreciate it. Take care of yourself and each other.